Venom Let There Be Carnage comes to us from director Andy Serkis, who the vast majority of people would recognise as Gollum from the Lord of the Rings films. Now, it's taken a little longer for Venom 2 to come over to Australia, thanks to certain lockdowns that delayed its release, resulting in a lot of Australians having the movie and the post-credit scenes spoiled for them, like the day the movie was released in America. So just a heads up, this review isn't going to be too concerned with spoilers. That aside, Venom Let There Be Carnage is here, picking up where the first film from 2018 left off, where Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock and Venom are having to learn to coexist and work together in order to survive and live somewhat normally. Their lives are disrupted, however, when serial killer Cletus Cassidy manages to acquire part of the Venom symbiote, merging the two to become the fan favorite comic book villain, Carnage. Venom Let There Be Carnage is more or less the movie I think Sony and Tom Hardy wanted to make the first time around. I wasn't all that into the first Venom movie, being someone that grew up with the Venom of the 1990s as a foe of Spider-Man, and absolutely loving the Maximum Carnage comic book storyline where Venom and Spider-Man team up to take down Carnage. These are popular characters that have been and will continue to be re-envisioned over the years. But it is still odd for me to have a Venom that is so disconnected from Spider-Man that it would honestly feel a little odd to have this incarnation of Venom eventually meet with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but I'm sure Marvel and Sony have that all figured out. Venom Let There Be Carnage is a really simple and lean film in a mostly good way, really just diving straight into the character dynamic between Eddie and Venom being tested while Carnage is brought into the equation, ultimately relaying to Eddie and Venom that their relationship and symbiotic connection to each other is what makes them stronger, with the filmmakers even adding some polyqueer undertones. What surprised me with Venom Let There Be Carnage is that despite the script being fairly lackluster, the film itself is actually quite well directed. Of all the superhero films coming out nowadays, Venom definitely leans more into the campier and sillier side of things, which honestly makes it kind of refreshing. It is clear that Andy Serkis was brought in to direct, primarily due to his knowledge of working on CG characters like King Kong or Caesar. There is a lot of effort here to make Venom and Carnage blend into the world, despite how over the top they both are. The action sequences are certainly a ton of fun with Venom and Carnage interacting with real objects in the environment, making some of the visual effects somewhat grounded. But Andy Serkis' direction absolutely shines through best in the movie's comedic moments, creating a sort of chaotic energy with Tom Hardy that really has to be seen to be believed. Tom Hardy is going all in with his performance as both Eddie Brock and Venom, nailing them as the most bizarre odd couple you've ever seen, building on their more over-the-top interactions from the first film, losing a bit of the self-seriousness that dragged the first Venom down. While Carnage is certainly a large part of the film, and Woody Harrelson is clearly having a great time hamming it up in the role, this movie is clearly about Eddie and Venom as we see their relationship hit a breaking point, and then watch them realize how dependent the two have become for each other. But this is all done while maintaining a sense of fun between the two. Like, I don't think I'll ever get sick of the scene with Venom making breakfast for Eddie, where food is just flying all over Eddie's apartment. There's just a sense of confidence in portraying Eddie and Venom's relationship in this film that was very much in the foundational stages with the first Venom. That being said, I certainly would have liked to have seen Cletus Cassidy and Carnage especially given a little more screen time before they're ultimately gulped up. We get a cool animated look into Cletus Cassidy's upbringing, while an oddly cast prologue offers an introduction to Cassidy's relationship with the villain Shriek. But it would have been nice to see the connection between Eddie and Cletus explored in more detail, especially with how much Cletus seemingly knows about Eddie. I mean, what makes Carnage such an endearing character from the comics, aside from his design, is the sense of threat that he holds. You've got Eddie Brock who's able to coerce the Venom symbiote into being an anti-hero, but what happens when this alien creature is in the hands of someone as dangerous as a serial killer? And just some of that is lost here with Carnage coming across a little more cartoonish, despite Carnage ripping apart and eating numerous people in the movie. The voice for Carnage is great though, and I love the homage to Carnage's axe hand from the comics. But I think one more confrontation between Venom and Carnage would have done wonders for the film. Aside from that, the supporting cast is just as forgettable as they were in the first film. Michelle Williams really doesn't have much to do here aside from being a tether to the first film and supporting the story. Naomie Harris, who is an Academy-nominated actress, delivers one of the most bizarre and downright baffling performances I've seen in a movie in some time. Shriek is a novel concept offering a sound-based power that hurts both Venom and Carnage, but the high-pitched voice and terrible dialogue for the character really make them feel like they were meant to be in a different movie. Certainly not developed enough to be even remotely interesting. Venom Let There Be Carnage is a movie that wears its heart on its sleeve. Yes, there are logic gaps here, where villains can suddenly show up at people's houses to kidnap them, and the film very nearly falls apart pacing-wise in the third act due to how chaotic everything is, but thankfully with how short the film is, it never overstays its welcome, offering a fun adventure with Eddie Brock and Venom that in my opinion, makes this a far more enjoyable and rewatchable film than the original. Venom Let There Be Carnage gets a 6.5 out of 10 from me. Guys, I hope you like this review. If you want to see more reviews just like this one, stay right here for your mono fix. Bye guys.